Welcome to Turmeric and Tequila with your host, Kristen Olson. Questioning a better way, one gracefully disruptive conversation at a time.
Okay, let's see real quick. Yeah, I just recorded. Am I taking it and you're not? No, I think we're perfect. Are you recording on the phone?
Yeah, not yet. Make sure your logo's out.
Yes. Okay, I need water.
That could be
My gallon a day for my challenge.
Are you ready? Welcome to Turmeric and Tequila. Today's a pretty fun one. I have an OG CFBF.
What do I look at the camera?
I don't know.
Look at you. If I look at the camera, I'll be distracted the entire time.
Well, we're in the studio. Let's preface this for the audience that's listening. In the studio, videoing, but the camera is not where we're looking at because we only got one camera. We're getting on the level where we have two. So you're going to look at the sides of our faces and then it's going to work out. But long story short,
profile is happening right now.
And there's only one human that we would already be operated like this, and it's the Rosa Jad.
Rosa
Jad!
Hello.
She's in the house. We're excited today.
I'm excited. This is cool. This setup, by the way, before we even start, congrats on this setup. I'm just looking around right now, like even at the top shelf of the Biggie with the, like, it's just amazing. And the lights, the mics, congrats. Like there's a fireplace under our professional camera of 16 angles right now.
That's a whole other YouTube video about to come out because it was a whole trial and error. Yes, but from one person from Aurora, Colorado to another, do you know where I got these posters? In 1999, let it be known, CD store from Park Meadows Mall.
Oh,
that's how nostalgic this little den is. Yeah, it's real.
Wow. Yeah, no, these are cool. Like,
it's real.
Wow. I mean, I like it.
I know. I didn't get a pick. You know, these would not have been the artists. I'm here for all the talented humans, but these would not have been the artists.
Madonna, obviously. She's a little hidden compared to what I thought she'd be for you, but that's fine.
Well, we have Harriet Tubman up front. We gotta, show our respects here. But we're on a more serious note. We're gonna do an open mic tonight.
Okay.
We're gonna talk. Okay. I
mean, what does that mean?
That means we're covering. I mean, basically, you can say whatever you want.
Okay.
Like that's kind of
when
all
do
the
I
shows.
not?
I was gonna say, open mic, talking about your journey, breakthroughs, being Muslim in America, being a devoted Muslim. And
is that what we would call me? I feel like I'm here.
I mean, it looks devoted to me.
I know.
I'm not the most religious human.
Today I pull up, get the dogs. I have to pray.
Wait, let's just enter with this story. This actually prefaces, I think, your world in a nutshell.
What? Though we do this all the time.
No, she rolls up to my house. Obviously, we're casting today, and she calls me from in the driveway, and she's like, "Listen, I gotta pray," which I'm not used to because anytime we're going out, whatever, Rosa does her
are you
thing.
kidding me? I feel like I prayed hundreds of times in this house.
No, that's what I'm saying.
It's
I'm used to that.
I'm here. I'm doing it.
I'm used to you praying, but not we can't touch the dogs. Right. So she had to come to the studio side and
usually not. I mean, 90% of the time I pray. I don't know. I don't pray at people's house who I don't know, but like if I know you and it's like I'm gonna pray. I'm not about to miss my prayer, like for something that I feel like I could make it. So I showed up and I was like, okay, the dogs are gonna go crazy on me. The dog can't lick me in order for me to pray. So I was like, let me pray in this room, and then you just meet me in this room, and then when I'm done praying, I can go hang out with the dogs. It's always been this rule of like, hold the dog for 5 minutes, let me pray, and then we can go back.
And if you know my dog, that's like holding a tornado.
That's what I'm saying.
Especially the little one. It's like a whole thing.
Yeah, so I was like, let me just leave.
But wait, break down for people that don't know. Because I actually don't. I've learned a lot just being around you, like alhamdulillah, like picking up like, the Muslim culture and like a smidge of the language.
Yeah.
But to break down a little bit of like, how many times a day do we pray? Like give us like the 10,000 foot view.
I pray, we're as Muslims, we pray 5 times a day. So I pray 5 times a day. Like my first one is like around 5:30 a.m. in the morning, and then you have the gap in between each prayer to pray. So like if my next prayer is from 1 to 4, I have from 1 to 4 to pray that. Then the next one is from 4 to 7. Then I have from 4 to 7 to pray that. The next one, and then from 7 to 8, and then 8 on is the next one.
So it's not at a specific time. It's any time in that zone. Okay.
Any time in that zone. So like when I showed up,
that could get crazy to schedule.
Exactly. So I just pray in between that time. Like if I get home from work, I still have an hour left. I'll pray, and then I'll pray the next one after that hour. So I pray 5 times a day. I've been doing it my whole life. My whole family prays. It's just like I think now that I'm older, I'm starting to realize that not saying that I knew growing up that not everybody did this, but now that I'm older, I'm like, I really have to go out of my way certain times to make sure I pray. But to me, I pray for myself, so I don't feel like I make it a big deal to people. And you guys are my closest friends know I do, but like if I'm out in public, like I'm not like, everybody stop, I need to I don't do that. Like I just like, no, that's doing too much, you know. I just handle my business in my private life, and then if I know you and I'm here a lot of the time, then I'm gonna if I'm somewhere a lot of the time, I'm not gonna miss my prayer a lot of the time I'm there. I'm gonna pray there. So
well, I mean, I like that, but how many people do you think that are Muslim are that committed to
I don't know.
Can I say required ritual or
no? It's just
ritual?
like it's just our religion. It's what we
what
do.
it is.
I don't know, honestly. I think everybody's different. I'm not one to judge. No one is anyone to judge. I don't pray and I'm like, oh, you have to pray too, or you're Muslim and you didn't pray. I don't do that at all. I don't like, that's just not cool. You shouldn't judge anybody. But I mean, I do it. My family does it, and that's kind of all I know in America. So I mean, if my dad was able to make it work when he was in America in his office, I'm able to pray at my radio station. But I do it super chill. Like I go in between commercials, so I'm not interrupting my show. I go in another room. No one's in that room. No one can see. No one whatever. I just pray and I go handle my business. And my boss knows, and like they're very open, very like. Of course they're okay with it. Like, I mean, I'm lucky that they're okay with it, but I don't make a big deal out of it. Like, I'm not like, okay, everybody stop the music. Yeah. I just go handle my business. Takes 5 minutes. I come right back. Didn't skip a beat.
Yeah. I mean, it's a positive thing. We need way more of that in this world, especially these days and times. But if people don't understand it, like, especially in America, I feel like if we don't know, we've never seen it, and we're obviously not really exposed to a lot in general. When you don't understand, you kind of had this preconceived judgment. Even if you don't think you're judging it, you probably are. Yeah. You just don't get it.
Yeah. I talked like when I was first getting my night show, what is this? 2000, maybe like 17. No, I don't.
Rosa and I met at CrossFit. Well, actually, did I know you through? So Rosa went to school with my younger brother, and I coached at the high school.
But I didn't know you at the time.
She was at. I thought you were at Front Range. Well, then we met through CrossFit, essentially.
Yeah, but no, I didn't know you when you were at the high school that I was at. I didn't know you when you were teaching. No, and then I met you.
I was definitely not teaching. Just
coaching. I did not. I didn't know you. I didn't know you at that point, and then I met you at CrossFit.
Okay.
I was like 16, 17.
But you were interning at 107.5 then.
Yeah, 17. Yeah. Last month, alhamdulillah, was my 8th year.
See, I'm picking up. Okay.
8th year. Isn't that crazy? It's about to be a decade. I'm 25. That's 8 years.
Young human getting it done.
No, but
that's commitment. Though. Themes here.
I completely forgot that I was like 8 years. So I saw it on like a calendar, and I was like, holy smokes,
I hope
8
you reminded
years.
them.
No, they have this thing by the elevator where it shows like everybody's like birthday anniversaries and like how long they've been their anniversary, and your girl's at like the tippy top. Like I'm with OGs, like me 8 years, 10. Like I'm up there, and I'm like, you're like, how old are you? I'm like, I guess I was born here. I was born working here.
We used to call you high school in CrossFit.
That is true. Some of you still do.
I don't really anymore.
Gibbs does, but I'm grown
now. I mean, somebody's gotta embrace the brand, but it's not a big deal.
Right.
I use a lot of Botox for that. So it's okay.
I need to. I'm like.
No, you're not even.
You guys like got me into looking
like
lip injections, maybe.
No, okay. Back to more important things.
Yes.
This is definitely the juxtaposition, turmeric and tequila.
I know.
Okay, I'm super fascinated. I have so much respect for you, obviously, because you're my friend, and I try and hang out with varsity humans most of the time, as we know.
Right. I'm very varsity.
But I'm fascinated. The more like I am very genuinely lucky to have an incredibly diverse group of humans in my world.
Sure.
Not just like race and gender, but just different beliefs, different ways of living, different approach on life, like you name it, and probably one of my friends are doing it, which is amazing.
Yes.
However, in Colorado in particular, we're not the most diverse situation. So if anything's happening outside of the box, people are wondering what's going on. I do think people are accepting, but they're just like curious.
I think that as much as like 2020 is like what is it called? Like we're breaking boundaries. We're not, it's like as much as we say, what is it called? Like breaking barriers, or as much as we're leaping and we're growing, evolving, we're not. So when I was getting the night show, I remember this had to be, I can't even remember, 2017. And I was having a meeting with the general manager about like contract and just stuff like that. This was going into my first like ever contract, first ever radio. Like I was not going to be part-time anymore. I was going for the night show. And I was in negotiations, and she was like, yo, like, I heard, you pray, and, like, you're Muslim. She's like, that's super cool. Like, would you ever wear, like, a hijab, like, all day, every day? And
but she knew hijab, even. Like,
yeah. Like, so I was like, I told her and I asked her, I was like, I don't know if it's me not comfortable yet or the world isn't like, I don't know if the world would be accepting. Like I told her, I was like, listen, it's cool until it's not in a way yet.
Yeah.
And I think it's like, I was like, I walk in here and I handle my business behind closed doors, not in a bad way, because I'm not gonna like what that's what anybody, you know, it's for me. But if I walked in here wearing a hijab every day, the dynamic would completely change of my show, of the way people treat me, of the way I'm looked at in entertainment. And like if I'm going on stage interviewing Trippie Redd in a hijab, that's gonna be, I don't know what might happen, but it's definitely gonna be like a topic of conversation consistently. And like I'm not one person to have one thing as my entire identity ever. What, like, you know what I mean? And so
that's what exactly.
It's like things. I don't want people to be like, oh, Rosa, she's just Muslim, or Rosa's just radio person, Rosa's just, I don't want that. And I feel like if, like, I don't know if as much as innovative we are in 2020, I don't know if we're there yet, and we might be, and maybe I don't know, I haven't been there, or everything is cool until it's not. I was reading in my book yesterday, it was saying like us humans, what we feel in our heart and what we know is right, and when we want to take a stance on something, we say it, but then when it's time to take action to the things we're saying, we don't come through. You know. And so people are like, oh, that's cool, it's cool until they see me do it, and then they're like, are they going to stand up for me, or are they going to whatever, you know? Or it's like anything that we do, we're all about, you know, movements and this and that. Like, are you going to actually vote? Are you going to put action behind what you say? And I don't feel like a lot of people are there. And I think that's what 2020 kind of exposed.
Well, I mean, I'll take that though. Even if the Band-Aids at minimum getting ripped off and getting exposed, even with some of my close friends, I'm pretty surprised how I'll be 40 in October 21st coming up.
Yes, I feel like you're the only person who had like a bad person that it didn't say happy birthday month.
And especially me, you know, I celebrate my birthdays like
I thought about it, but then I was like, I'm not gonna text her and say happy birthday month. Like, no, yes, I felt like
you actually thought about it though, so I still win.
I thought I was a bad person. I was like, no, dude. I was like, is it not normal? And I was like, yeah, it's not normal to text somebody happy birthday month.
Yes, it is normal. We're here to make the not normal normal.
I'm excited for this party. What is it?
Yes.
26th.
24th.
Saturday at 6 p.m.
COVID's mixing it up, but I got my step and repeat today. Like, we're gonna do it right. Anyways, I think the Band-Aids ripped off in 2020. I can't wait to see what's happening in 2021. Do I think we've had this massive evolution? No. Do I think doors have been kicked down and there's exposure and transparency? Yes. And even some of my friends, we've had these conversations, you know, lots of privileged white humans, myself included. However, it's conversations of like, I'm here for it, but I don't recycle, and I've never voted before.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, and these are some people that are like on the front lines.
Like, everybody is down to do it until it might affect their life. And then they're like, oh yeah, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like America lives in this weird thing where those at the top, or like the fact that 1% of the people have all the money is nuts to me, number one.
Yeah.
But number two, we live in a society where like people feel like they have to overindulge and they have to be greedy because there isn't enough to go around, which is the complete opposite.
But who sells us that message?
For example, our society and
marketing,
and
business,
our society is filled with those people who believe in patriarchy, and those very few people who get to decide the imagery that we see are those who believe in patriarchy. So until we challenge the authority, or until we continuously make sure that we are living it through a love ethic, I don't think that will change, you know. And it's weird because all we see is violence, or you know what I mean, things that are, if we only saw love, and this is getting whatever, but if like we only saw love and positive things on TV, then when we saw something negative happen, we would be more likely to speak up. But we see so much violence and so much things that are not okay on TV that when they happen in real life, we're more keen to them or acceptable to them. But it's this kind of societal patriarchy, and why though? Because we're consumers, and they tell us what to think. And if we were, our society instills fear in us, right? And fear is like we do everything we can in our life to be safe and to be in this bubble, right? And our society makes it that way because they say anything that's uncomfortable, anything that's outside of your bubble, you shouldn't do because that's fear, right? But think about it. When they gave us a laptop, we adapted to the laptop. We adapted to the iPhone. So we were able to adapt to new things. So we're not scared of things. It's what society tells us. And so we live in this really weird patriarchal society where it's okay to have one gender dominate over another, and one type of person dominate over another, and people believe that if they have millions of dollars that they need to keep those millions of dollars because they might lose them, instead of this thing of like communion and sharing. Think about it. When COVID happened, people went and bought hundreds of things of toilet paper.
Myopic space.
What the hell?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and they weren't considering the next person. They were like, it's about me. And I think that was a prime example of how our society, our patriarchy, all of it played, like COVID and this entire Black Lives Matter movement and the election coming up in November, all is this cycle that is just exposing every aspect, and it just shows how it's a circle and it's all connected.
Yeah. No,
we
talk about this.
No other country bought hundreds of toilet paper each person.
We don't need
That's
that
ridiculous.
Much. Like, what?
Thousands of
Stop eating so much.
sanitizer? Like,
Yeah.
what? Like, come on, you need 3.
Well, and also, like, again, what about your neighbor? But I think we talk about this a lot on
Sorry,
Drinking
I
Tea.
got into it.
No, that's why we're here. Get aggressive. Let it all flow. Like, if you need to do some push-ups, by all means. There's not a lot of room, but don't kick a light or the screen.
I know he's very nice.
But no, reality is nothing more applied meaning, like really old school philosophy.
Yeah.
Like, who's creating this meeting?
Yeah.
And this is quite literally why I started the podcast, which is small and growing, but we'll hear we'll take our stance, because our young humans are consuming this digital reality all the time. So they're thinking, I need more, I need to buy more, I need to be skinnier, I need to be tanner, I need to be whatever, I need to do. And it's like,
we're sold illusions that we buy.
So we got to stop buying it. Stop it. Because first of all, most of it's not attainable. It's a filter.
100%.
It's a fake rented Lamborghini. The rap video is not real. The tan, it's a fake booty from the app. Like, it's not what it is. Also, if you really realize who's monetizing you and your thoughts and your buying behavior, it's disgusting. Watch The Social Dilemma.
Yeah, I know that. I watched it. You know what was so sad about watching The Social Dilemma is I was like, oh, this is not anything I don't know. Like,
Most people did say that.
You know what I mean? Like, I know there's someone like who is programming. Like, TikTok is genius. I'll like one thing on TikTok knowing I'm gonna get more of that and knowing I'm gonna curate my page. It's crazy, but I'm like,
no, I know.
You know what I mean?
We're indulging because I'm here for. I actually like social media because I do think it's a connection point. I think it's a platform.
Of course.
But there's got to be a major balance. To me, it's just like nutrition. Like, you know when you're eating a donut, you know when you're eating a pizza, you know when you're eating a donut, pizza, and tequila. Yeah. You're gonna wake up feeling like shit. Sometimes it's worth it, but you know what you're doing. Yeah. Most people, I really think, know how to quote unquote eat right, or let's say a lot of people. But like, that doesn't mean we're gonna do it all the time.
But I think what's so scary is like, I'm 25, right? I was born in 1995. That means when I was coming up, I was getting a cell phone, the flip phone, which you got your minutes after, or you got your free text after 9 at a decent age. I'm like 13, 14, as in phones are not accessible like that. Not everyone has a phone. There is no internet on the phone. And I'm a millennial. I look at the kids now and their iPad, they know how, the number one
2-year-olds watch kids
the number
on
one
YouTube.
YouTubers are all billionaires off kid channels, and like the parents give the kid to the iPad to the kid to be. So I'm like, wow, you guys are raised on this stuff. And I'm like, when I was coming up, I didn't have a Facebook. Like, you weren't. My parents didn't allow me to have Facebook.
I didn't have Facebook till after college.
MySpace. Yeah,
thank God.
You know what I mean? But like, everything was monitored, and it was like the first time. Now these kids have access to whatever, however, whenever. And if I was 12 and someone told me that I was ugly, of course I'm gonna believe them. Why would I not? You know, you don't know any better. So I think that's what's crazy is I've had social media, but like I'm still relatively millennial, and I still think it's kind of crazy. And I can only imagine anybody who's born in the 2000s. You know what I mean? It's like you have access to whatever you want. But I get it though, because it connects people. It brings so much stuff.
You gotta balance. And even if you even if you start shutting companies down, what have you, just like drugs, sex, and alcohol, kids are gonna do what they want to do. They're gonna find a way. I think you gotta educate the parents be open-minded to it, and then be open-minded. The kids are already exposed to stuff. Have some conversations about things. On the flip side, they can see like what does it mean to be Muslim? What does it mean to pray 5 times? Like, on the flip side, you can lean into some of these things. Your parents sure as hell don't know. Right. But you can kind of go down a journey of like, oh, my friend does this. I would love to learn more about this. Right. Let me understand.
Yeah, but that's we're grown adults with working brains who understand that. Yeah. Over half the people who are on that are not grown adults who have the brain to understand this is what I want to see. This is what I'm not. They're seeing half naked girls online and guys with abs and people with a lot of followers. Like, even look at TikTok. Like, when I was like Facebook, no one was I would not be allowed to post a bikini photo of myself. Now the number one TikTokers are freaking 17 years old, half naked.
I know.
And I'm like, wow, even my generation is like, oh my God, like we never did that. So it's just because guess what? Sex sells. And unfortunately, like, just the concept of TikTok is so cringe. Like, I love the app because it's so funny, and like, I'll be honest, it makes me laugh, but then I'm like, oh, like, there's this 12-year-old girl looking
and you see how much
this,
effort goes into it,
looking at another one half naked, and I'm like, oh, this is what she thinks is pretty, and this is what she thinks, and the ones that are half naked gets hundreds of millions of views, and I'm like, is this kind of like predatory? It's just weird.
It is predatory. Are you kidding me? Who do you think? It's a total basement creeper sitting there watching young humans videos.
Yeah, it's weird.
Netflix just their cuties dancing. I didn't watch it, but got shut down. It was like kids dancing or something. It's too much.
Yeah.
But I think that's where companies need to step in and take social and moral responsibility, not to promote, not to talk about it. And this is a perfect segue because I really want to champion your job situation where they've let you go march, be open, be supportive, talk about it, like give us a little, like I really went on my way to champion companies doing it because I think that's a major point of
I give
evolution.
So much credit to KS. Like, the second everything kind of went down, my bosses, like, it wasn't even a question. He was like, what are we doing? How can we help? Who do we need to talk to? And I was like, I thought it was cool. So I was at the first protest it was like a Thursday, and I went, and then I
right after George Floyd.
Yes, that day. Okay. Like, not that day, or like the couple days after, like when it hit the news. Yeah, we were out there, and I remember I went live on our Facebook page from KS, which now looking back probably wasn't the safest thing, but I mean, it was a very safe protest. 100,000 people were on that Facebook live, and my bosses were calling me like, hey, stay safe, but like, and one of my coworkers was in the studio like, hey, step away and give me a live call in so we can put this on air and tell people what's going on. Like, it was that immediate of like, people need to know that this is injured.
Was there any conversation of like, should we do this, or like, were they hesitant at all?
It was just, how do we do this safely?
Yeah.
How do we do this? And mind you, it's COVID, so we're not going to be like, everybody rush down to a protest without masks. Like, you can't, that's not the point. You know, we don't want to infect more things, but I think once things get tricky in the world, or when things get serious, we stop becoming like we're always about the music, but then we become informative. Like, you're listening
but
to
you're informing all the time anyways. That's
right.
What people,
but now it's like even more. Now it's 100%. Like, oh, okay, we just saw on the news that schools are closed next week. Hey, schools are, so people a lot of people still listen to the radio to get their information. So I might be updating somebody on, hey, the bus system is down, or, things like they're not doing the light rail anymore, or hey, COVID testing here, or stuff like that. So we become super informative. So it's important that we have our facts right. But yeah, I was at that first protest, and it wasn't even a question. They were like, hey, call in. Like, what is your experience? So they were all down for it. And then we kind of talked after, and I was like, hey, how do we go about this? I've never been involved in a protest like that.
No, nothing's been like that. It's not like COVID, Black Lives Matter.
Exactly.
I mean, this is all new.
Right. So we just had meetings, and I would just be like, all right, what's appropriate, what's not? And my boss was always just like, yo, be yourself, be authentically yourself. But like,
and this is a white male. I'm just curious. Okay. And so I'm okay.
Right.
Good.
But he was just like, don't do no stupid. Don't do anything dumb, which I would do. Not even in regard to a project, just in general. He's like, don't do just anything.
To be smart and be safe.
Be smart. He's like, be very smart, be very safe. Make sure we have your location, stuff like that. Be safe about it. So then then my boss attended protests. Like, we all went to multiple peaceful protests. It was amazing. We would relay it back on air, and we would tell people that it was peaceful. And because at this point, America's mad, and they have the right to be, but it was like, how do we tell people, inform them on what's going on, but also do it in the safest way possible? We're not out there like, go. We're not saying that. We're saying, if you're going, this is where it's happening. This is what's happening. Be peaceful, wear a mask, social distance. So that was that. And then when we found out about Elijah McClain, we were also present on the lines protesting. And we have these things called like promos and sweepers, where they run in between songs or in between commercial breaks. And a lot of them we have about 3 right now that are running about voting, about how Black Lives Matter. And
essentially paid spots that are not getting paid.
Yes, of course.
So I'm always impressed when companies, like, again, like it's one thing to talk about, but then when you actually put your money where your mouth is, it's a big
we're filling promos. Like, all of our promos have changed to this is what's going on in our culture, in our world right now. This is how you vote. This is where you register. This is who you need to call.
And who does this come from? Does this come from your boss or like higher up?
It
Because
comes
this is like a bigger telecom
right. So
company.
it comes from what I know. It comes from my boss, but he has gotten approvement from this, that. So
which says a lot. These are multi-billion-dollar
My boss has been emailing the Aurora the Aurora Police Department every week saying, what is the update on Elijah McClain? And when they don't email him back, he CCs hundreds of people and has been on them, you know, like we're not here just for the looks. We are in this thing. So when we have the George Floyd promos running, we have the Elijah McClain promos running, we have the voting matters every Saturday. We've been at a different location around the city registering people to vote. We partner with like Alpha Phi Alpha. They're like, because you have to get like certified registered, so they are. So they're the ones actually registering people to vote. And so we're out there on the streets giving people the address, come meet us here. We're here for 2 hours. And then recently we started partnering with the mayor's office to hand out free boxes of food, baby diapers, pet food, even like shavers, like female products, and registering you to vote. And we're doing it safely. It's like a car drive up, and we're getting hundreds of tons of food. This morning we were doing it, and the Denver Rescue Mission found out, who we love, and they pulled up on us with like trucks of food as well. And we were able to feed the community, because I mean, tough times are going on right now. And if we have this platform, we genuinely might as well use it, because like what else what if you have a platform and you're not using it right now, then I really think you need to question what the hell you're doing in your life.
Well, the good news is,
regardless of how big or small your platform is.
I completely agree. And I think the good news is a lot of these big players are paying attention, and the ones that aren't, that's fine too, because I think the consumer is so savvy. Again, another upside of social media. The consumer, young human, knows who made the product, where it came from. Do you have a diverse group of employees? Is this ethically raised?
And mind you, this is corporate. This is Fortune 500.
That's what I'm saying. This is a big deal. These are major changes.
We've been doing everything we can to help the community, do it safely, do it responsibly. But like, it's just like I've never been more in awe and honored to work somewhere, you know, because I'm like, wow, we're like really out here. We're in these streets. We're out, and I think for election day, we're going to actually all be at a poll, or like different polls, doing our shows live from polls, like come vote, you know.
Are you ready for election day?
No, so I'm
either way, I think it's going to be insane.
I'm trying to go to Jamaica. Like I am out.
Oh, that's right.
I'm out a couple days after. So when I'm just going to be like, oh, I didn't see it happen. It didn't, I don't know. And I'm out, and then I'll come back and deal with it. But like,
it's going to be a thing.
Yeah. It's going to, like, there's been multiple times where I'm even on air and I'm like, I'll have a hard time doing a show because I'm so mentally distraught with like system information overload, which is fine, but like just the state of the world that we're in sometimes. And it's like this balance of, okay, you're tuning in because you're here for the music, you're here for me, we're here to have a good time, but like we're not going to disregard what's happening. So it's that balance of both, of like, this is how you vote, but this is some new music. You know,
I think that's okay. Like, again, you can wear all the hats, you can be all the things. Turmeric and tequila, brand shout out. But no, but really, and I actually think, yes, there are going to be a lot of people that aren't going to change their ways. They probably won't vote. They probably won't do. But on the flip side, I actually think they will vote, and I'm optimistically putting this into the universe. I think our young humans will show up. Our new 18-year-olds, the ones that care, have been watching things. I don't care if you're watching the debates or you're watching SNL. Usually SNL's better. Whatever it is, like I think
don't know. Those debates got juicy.
Dude, I can't wait to see Maya Rudolph play.
I love reality TV, and I was like, this is topping it. I'm
it's
like,
real,
the shade,
this
the
is
drama.
Creme de la creme. Speaking when they
chef's
speak.
kiss. I'm like, are you guys? I'm like, am I just too old, or am I finally old enough to know everyone here is lying? I'm like, what is it?
They know it. Like, so we're having a debate. They give questions. No one's answering the questions.
No one is answering the questions. I want them to do the whole thing where it's like, talk if you have the stick. Talk if you have if you don't have the magic stick, you can't talk. Like,
that's like Girl Scout Camp 101.
That's what they need. But I'm like, they'd say something, and I'm like, girl, am I living in the same world? Like,
they're literally like, it's like, hey, how are you? You're like, I'm here to talk about da-da, and it's like, I didn't even ask you the question, but
watching things like that stresses me out, because I'm like, 4 more. America is in a weird state, but honestly, as crazy as what I've been saying to myself is as crazy as the state that we're in, everything happens for a reason. I think it was, the world shuts down where we have nothing better to do but look at our phones and sit at home. And then what do we see on our phones? George Floyd, and it makes us get up and take action.
Yeah.
It was like there was nothing else to see but that. It got everybody's center of attention.
Not even just in America,
so
though. The world stood up. You see protests in Australia.
Right.
I was blown away.
Yeah,
that people, because I don't know, in my travels, I haven't experienced the best where
it's because nobody
people don't love
out.
Americans.
Nobody was out in the club. Nobody was out here. Nobody was watching anything new on TV. No one was at a concert. Everybody was sitting at home doing nothing, and it popped up on everybody's street. That's why I hate social media, but I love it because I can find out something that happened in Wisconsin 10 minutes later. So it's, I think, as bad as things can be, I think it all happened for a reason.
Well, I mean, on that note, do you think it's very serendipitous, meaning it's you're right on time, you happen to be a person of color, you happen to be on the mic, you happen to be okay with speaking your voice, you happen to be with a company that's okay with you speaking a voice, like you happen to be, check all these boxes, and here we are right now where we need someone, again, being the informant on the mic, and you have experience, heart space, and mindset all in play.
Yeah, I think everything happens for a reason, and like the things that we took for granted, we don't anymore. The things that we used to value, I don't value anymore. The things I used to think or care about, I don't think or care about anymore. I think this year has completely changed me and those around me and those who want to change. As like I said before, as crazy as this year is, I really feel like this year is a year of transformation. It's a year of inner growth. It's a year where society doesn't get to dictate your happiness anymore, because we live in a society where your work goals are what validate you. You know, if you get a raise, if you did, then you feel like you're good and you're better. But then we completely forget about our inner self, our actual goals. What are your real goals? You know, what are your personal goals? And I think this year was allowing us to focus on those personal goals. I think this year allowed us to finally be in touch with ourselves and made us do the hard work that we had distractions where we didn't have to. I think that's what this year is. And I always tell myself, like, as much as it sucks, I'll be damned to come out of this worse. That's what I always tell myself. Like, the best part about doing self-work now is you don't have FOMO.
Right. Well,
You know
I mean,
what I
you're
mean?
literally not missing anything.
I
think the pause is, and I have so much respect for anyone that's lost someone, which I have some friends that have lost parents, and anyone that's been afflicted by the illness, by COVID, loss of jobs, loss of businesses. Like, my heart goes out to all of those situations. And if there's any positive in any of that deep sacrifice, is that I do think it's this deep breakthrough of we got to get this right of what's going on actually, like who's selling us what, who's leading us where, why are we doing this, do we even care about this, or why are we, you know, killing ourselves to work 80 hours a week to buy things we don't care about.
One of my most favorite things that happened, this happened like 2 weeks ago. I woke up and I was like, oh, what day is it? And I was like, wow, the last time I told myself, what day is it? And I completely love my job. That's why I'm like, that's crazy, is I love my job and I still get stressed the hell out sometimes, you know, everybody does.
Of course.
But it's like, I didn't know what day it was, and I was genuinely so happy. I was my purely happy. I don't know if it's because I'm 25 now and my brain is starting to work different, but like I appreciate little things like the trees changing colors or the sun rising and the sun setting and the breeze of something, not going out and getting lit and going to a club. Like those don't appeal to me anymore. But it took COVID to be like, oh, hey, by the way, you don't have any of that stuff anymore and you're fine. And it goes back to what you said of, a lot of Americans do this thing where they work 5 days a week to get 48 hours of their own time, and then they go right back and work for the man every night and day. You know, it's so weird. And I think what this made us realize is, first off, with technology, especially a lot of my friends who are in the, whether it's tech space, finance, any place that there's a computer, are all going to be able to work from home forever. Simply forever.
Amen.
So it's completely changing the dynamic of the workspace. I think workspaces will only have up to 50% capacity, maybe, and people's productivity levels even sometimes more at home because they get up and they're motivated to get the work done so they can go have their free time, or they're in their space. They don't have, you know, that coworker buzzing in their ear, or that maybe not the best work environment. So it's like, it's completely changing, number one, but I think it's making, especially my generation, is making us realize, hey man, what really makes you happy? And let's go do that, because we all try to be great employees. We all try to do all that. At the end of the day, what is going to be okay with you? Because even trying to be the best employee isn't going to make you happy sometimes. So
I think most people, like, especially like my age moving forward, they look back and they're like, I want to be an entrepreneur now. I want to start doing these things where I'm more free now. And I'm like, I totally get it. Thankfully, I didn't know what I was doing as a young human, but I played it right for my personality, unknowingly so.
Right.
And it's kind of worked out, and with some major trials and tribulations.
Same, sis.
Let's put that out there.
Same.
But again, I think we are sold this idea of this is what you do. You go to college, you
this
get
is what makes
9
you
to 5, get married,
happy,
do this.
Successful.
Yeah, and then you wake up and you're 50 years old and you're like, the fuck have I been doing? Why?
My friend who's also Muslim, and we went to a dinner a week ago, and she said something that I don't think I'll ever forget. She was like, hey guys, did you know kids aren't an accomplishment? And I was like,
my friends with her, do I know
but
her?
I was like, whoa, when she said that, I was like, damn.
Not that I'm against
that's
parents
so
at all, but
true.
it's so
And I was talking to my friends about it. We've been having this conversation a lot over the last couple months and year about how we feel like we were failures if we didn't have kids and were married by 30.
Wait, let's unpack that. Wait, do you think that's a Muslim thing, or do you think that's an American thing?
That's a thing.
I completely agree.
That's like a woman thing. Oh,
Yeah.
Muslims is even Arab culture. People, when I was 22 and didn't have a kid, people were looking at my mom like, "What's wrong with her?" Like, oh
in
yeah.
America, they're like,
But
"You
my
made
mom-
it to 22. Good job."
My mom had 5 kids by 25. By 25. But also,
my mom had 4 by 30.
very understanding. Our cultures are very different from
Yes.
in Saudi Arabia, or in my Arab culture, women get married earlier, and you have kids earlier, which is completely fine. But I had a conversation with my mom about this literally last night, and I told her, I was like, Mom, you always tell me marry a rich man, and I said, Mom, I am that rich man. I was like, I want.
Oh, that's a quote from the share.
I heard that. It was
yes.
a thing, but I literally said, I was like, I want to be that rich man. Like, I want to be that CEO at the table. And she was like, damn. She's like, but kids, like, I just want a kid. I'm like, I will get you a grandkid.
But she's got her business
That's
now.
what I told her. I'm like, you are popping.
I know your mom.
You know what I mean? So,
Stop.
but I get where she's coming from. We, like I said, we come from a very different generation. But it's still, because what do? I live a life, like, we live a life where we please those around us, our family, our parents, whatever this, that. And what they came from is you have marriage and kids by 30. That's what they instilled in us. And now, but we're looking around in the world. I'm like, I say this all the time on the radio, and I'm like, can someone legitimately answer me? If I'm supposed to be married and have kids by 30, do I get this year of COVID back? Do I get this? You kept me in the house for 7 months, and you guys are so freaking pressed on time, and so give me the 7 months back. So then it shows to this aspect of time is a freaking illusion, and stop putting barriers on yourself, and it's amazing to give yourself goals, but don't give yourself negative goals. As in, if I don't do this by 30, I'm a loser. Do not put that pressure on yourself. And I know so many friends who are in certain relationships because they're supposed to be in that relationship and because they need to have marriage and kids by 30. But I'm like, girl, you're not happy. But I was in that too. Like last year, I don't know what got into me. I was like, damn, I need to have marriage and kids by 30. Like, oh my God. Like, then I thought about it and I was like, wait a minute. First off, we're trash right now. Like, we're literally trash.
Well, you got to think, like,
people are out
logistically,
here
is the
getting
thing
their
in life-
necks stepped on, and people are out here, all this crazy stuff.
Do you want to bring a kid in this world at this point?
Number one.
Real talk.
And number two, when COVID happened, I got to ask myself for the first time in my entire life, which was also a problem, what do I want for myself?
Yeah.
And I was so focused on my work goals that I didn't have any personal goals. But that's okay because, well, not okay, but that's what I was taught. You put your head down and you grind. But I totally lacked who is Rosa, which is fine. But that's what gave me the time to figure that out and understand that. But I was talking to my friend the other day and I was like, girl, we have to take this pressure off of us.
Yeah.
I'm like, people generations ago had to have kids by 25, 30 because there wasn't even medicine to keep us alive that long. Now we live, alhamdulillah, longer lives and do things. I'm like, we don't have to have... Kelly Rowland is a beautiful queen, and she
40 just had her second kid.
I'm like queen. I'm like, she looks so healthy,
she's a girl
beautiful.
that you would never know she's pregnant because she like has a kid and looks normal again. She's
But
like
I'm
back
just
to the
saying,
Survivor video.
I'm like, I would be damned if she felt pressure her whole life. Like that means from 30 to 40. What is she? 40?
I think she is 40 now.
So I'm like,
She's
for 10 years, she thought she was a loser because she didn't have kids. Like, it's just like, what are we doing?
But then you see people that do have kids, and I'm not. Kids to me are a blessing. If you create a life, it's a blessing.
I want so many kids, but like,
there's logistics to it. Like, can you afford it? Can you bring it? And I think people my family just figured out there was a for sure no plan. If you know me, I'm kind of a non-planned human, and I come from the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Mm-hmm.
Hence, I've kind of learned being like, okay, we're gonna pause. If we're doing turmeric and tequila, we don't need to have a bassinet right here. Maybe not yet.
And when my friend said it's not an accomplishment, and I was like, wow,
that's deep though.
When she said that, I was like, you're so
it's
right.
It's not to diss people that do have kids or say it's not hard.
Because take my baby here. Look, I had a baby. I'm not a loser. I had a baby. I'm living. And then I just thought about it, and I was like, yeah, you're so right. So in these last couple of months, I've been able to take the pressure off me of like, this is what I'm supposed to do. It's like society puts these pressures on us, and then we judge ourselves and put pressure on ourselves before anyone else can. I completely took the personal judgment out of myself and said, what's going to make you happy today? Live in the present. And I'm not going to lie, KO, in these last month or two, I've, alhamdulillah, never felt happier, never felt better, never felt more pure to my soul, more authentic. Sometimes I can't even go to bed at night because I get excited to wake up the next day to do whatever I want. And I'm like, and that includes my job as well. And I'm like, wow. And even my bosses and stuff, they're like, yo, you really kind of took on this new life. And I was
people
like,
notice the glow when you figure it out.
Right, it's not even a glow. It's just this thing where you have to just let whatever it is be, whatever it is be. And then if you're good with yourself, nothing can touch you anymore. But that takes, you have to take the pressure off your family, off you, or what he said, what she said, what society says I look pretty. And I think it took the world going to shit for us to realize they don't have it figured out.
Nobody does.
Exactly. So I'm not gonna I'm not gonna try to do what you say, because sir, you don't know more than I do.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do whatever I want, and wherever the path takes me, I'm gonna go on.
Dude, you're lucky though that happened at the age it did. I mean, I'm in for intuitives. I'm down with religion. I'll talk about whatever. Any self-searching core values. I spent good time and money, energy, and it's the best money I've ever spent. Right. But like process to go through, being like, what's really going on? And I consider myself confident, down to earth, like we're clear-minded. But we still have like deeply JV moments where it's what are you doing? Why are you hanging out with this human?
Me and you have had. We're not gonna say, but we've had.
Let it pass.
I've had JV moments. In that house over there. I've had multiple. When I woke up and I'm like,
get your shit together.
Yeah, I'm like, KO, do you know what to do? And you're looking at me and I'm like, you're the adult here. Like you're like, can you help me? You're like,
college sorority house is happening.
Oh, the JV. But
also,
you have to go through that to know.
All things are on time.
Yes, you have to go through things to know what you want.
Wait, so okay, let's talk about this, because I love how being in American society, being a Muslim, being on the radio, it's a big deal. How much do you think, I think it's hard for any kid to stay committed to anything, whether your family believes in, or they're all baseball players and maybe you want to play ping pong. What made you stick to wanting to continue to practice the Muslim faith, and how much of it made you grounded throughout moments like years like this?
Wow. I don't think I've ever talked about that out loud. I think, so my mom used to always, my mom's pretty religious, but like my mom, just like me, you wouldn't.
I was gonna say, you guys are literally spirit animals.
You wouldn't know that I was like, not like, I don't even know if I'm ultra, I don't know. I just do what I do because it makes me happy. But
I think you're committed to the things you're committed to.
Yeah, but it doesn't like define me. Like my mom, 100%. Would you think she was 10 times more religious than I am? Probably not. She's cool. She's just chilling. What we do is for us. But my mom told me as I got older, she said that, my mom's religious, my family's religious. We come whatever. And so she said, I taught you guys to pray because that was my duty as a mom. And she's like, I taught you guys the foundations of the religion because you came out of me. You know what I mean? So she was like, I birthed you. And it was like, how do you explain it? Like I said, I've never said this out loud, but she said that it was my duty to teach you the ways that I knew. And then she's like, when you get older, you decide what you want to do. My mom has never forced us to pray.
That seems very progressive.
Never, whatever. But as I got older, I think I've been praying every day, 5 times a day, alhamdulillah, since I was like 12, 13. So it's just, first off, it's a habit. It becomes a part of who you are. That's why I've always stayed committed. But number 2, it was never pushed down my throat in that way. And I got to make the choice as a teenager, whatever, as an adult, that I want to do this. You know what I mean? My mom gets annoyed by me because I'm like, let's pray together. And she's just, she prays, but she's like, can you give me 5 minutes? And I'm like, let's pray. I like to pray on time, And she's like, damn. So if anything, she's like, please get out of my face. But I stay committed to the religion because it's almost like a sense of meditation 5 times a day. It's a sense of, I always tell people this, if I can get up and pray 5 times a day, I can do anything in this world. If I can go through Ramadan and not eat for a month,
you want to talk more about that. Continue on this, but
I can do anything in the world. The discipline is there, the focus, the determination, the willpower. If I say I'm going to do something, I do it, regardless of anything in my life. Nothing is harder than waking up at 5 in the morning and putting your feet in water and washing your whole body and praying when you're tired. You know what I mean? When you want to be asleep.
Do you do that every single morning?
Yes, I sometimes, like when I was younger, I would forget.
Sure?
No, when I was younger, I would forget or whatever, and then I would make it up, this, that. But now that I'm older, I do wake up as much as possible and do it. And like midday, how many times have you been like, "Hey, come here at 6?" And I'm like, "Okay," I'm like, "I'll be there at 6:30. I'm just gonna pray my prayers."
No, it's normal to me now, so I'm just like, whatever.
But it's normal to me now. You see how it's normal to me? I'm like, okay, I can go do that. Maybe if I wait 10 more minutes, I can get this prayer in before. So it just becomes a part of who I am, and it becomes a part of my daily routine, and it becomes a part of my cycle. Becomes a part of engraved in my head, and it's just something I do. It's not something I think about even doing. I mean, I do think about it a lot, but it's just like, well, if I put a pair of socks on, I know, did I wash before? It's just a part of who I am, and I've stayed committed because it's truly what brings me happiness. I could be having the most hectic day at the radio station, doing this, interviewing that, but for 5 minutes, the world stops. I have this moment, and I'm devoted to God, and I have that connection, and I take it off, and I get right back into the hectic world. It's like, all I can compare it about to people who've never, whatever, is just, it's meditation scheduled throughout the day. Yeah. That's all it is. And so it brings me joy. It brings me happiness. I think now that I'm older, I hate that I keep saying that, but like, it really is. I feel like I'm changing. It makes me exactly who I am. And it makes me, it's why I'm different. It's why I'm the way I am, is because I'm able to do these things in front of the doors, behind the doors, whatever it is. It puts discipline in my head in regards to anything. If someone is drinking all the time and they can't stop drinking, you know what I mean? It's like, I said I wasn't going to do that, so I'm not going to do it. You know what I mean? Or I said I'm going to commit to this 30-day challenge. I've committed to praying. I'm doing the 75 hard. But if I say I'm going to do something, I do it. That comes from my religion. If I didn't have that, I don't know what I do. And like I think it's early life I don't know skills. Anything else. There's nothing, I don't know anything else, you know?
Well, I think that's, sport was kind of like our religion in my household. So we learned, and I'm a huge advocate, particularly for our young females, to get into sports, learn teamwork, learn how to get along with other people, learn commitment. And I've gotten more into meditation, and like, even now, like, it was really hard for me at first just to be still, listen, be mindful. And now that I've gotten into it, my body craves it. Like, I crave a timeout. So I think it's, however you package it,
walk so every day. I crave it. The inner stillness, all of that. Like, you crave, once you stick with something, once you stick with a good habit for long enough, you start to crave the results instead of those immediate highs that we used to get before. You start to crave how your body looks, or you crave how your mind works, or you crave the ideas that you have. Once you are okay with the inner stillness and the inner thoughts in your head, nothing can challenge you anymore. Someone yelling at me at work, or someone on the street yelling at me, or my sister, it doesn't affect me the way it used to, because I'm okay with whatever is in my head.
You've been reading books, the challenge. Has there been any major piece outside of religion and these grounding bases, family?
I know you're trying to make it seem like I'm hella religious. I'm still here for a good time.
No, I think you're super balanced.
I've never talked about being Muslim.
If anyone knows you, like,
I've never talked about being Muslim this much in
but I think it's out there. It's really an important piece. I mean, you could compare your commitment to Muslim religion to me to even CrossFit or fitness. Like, it was insane, not in a bad way, but like,
and mind you, I grew up as an athlete: basketball, tennis, cross country, CrossFit, and those goals all came, and the determination all came from being Muslim. Of like, I said I'm gonna do something.
So I'm saying, so like, I think this is a bright light on a positive situation of like, I think this is a really important conversation because it's a major guiding positive force in your world. And I don't think a lot of people understand what religion is, what Muslims in America are like, and what people that can be all the things. Like, I think another good thing about 2020 is that it's starting to pull back the filter of, this person, I know Kristen from CrossFit, but shit, you're actually a professional. Like, you're a wild animal in CrossFit. What do you do for work? Like, what are you actually doing? And this is real conversation. So I don't think like any one major brand we're talking about defines any one person. So I think it's really important to talk about this space that the light has not been on, because you don't talk about it doesn't have to be on the forefront of what you do. And I think it's really cool to be like, yes, bitch, but you didn't know I'm also doing this. And this is a big deal, and this is a positive guiding force. So,
Queen.
Anyways, I'm just saying, I got deep respect for it. on the flip side, you kind of touched on like environment, your family, your type of your family. I think our families are completely different, but also the same. We're not going to like monster truck events, which you guys do.
Love that.
But the people in your world, like let's talk about the varsity and JV-ness. How intentional are you about keeping good humans around you? Because again, we're products of our environment. I don't care what it is.
Wow. I think for anyone who is in their early 20s or mid 20s or whatever it is, the number one key in life is to surround yourself with people who think like you, who are like-minded, who are dedicated. Alhamdulillah, one of my friends is in law school. The other one is in med school. The other one is a very successful, alhamdulillah, architect. The other one is an engineer. You know what I mean? They're out here doing incredible things. They're all dedicated. They all wake up. You know what I mean? So I think having friends and what's even cool about it is we all come from different aspects in life. They know nothing about radio. I know nothing about being a lawyer. But I was over at every Saturday and Sunday now I spend at different friends' house. And I'm like, she's like, all right, I'm studying for the bar. I'm like, bet, I have to, I'm doing 3 interviews next week. I'm going to do my interviews. You said, when I tell you, KO, we put on our headphones. We're both in the same room, sitting on the floor. And we just get our work done for like 10 hours. That's what's so important, is to have people around you who, number one, support you, but think like you. If you want to stop drinking and you're around people who all they do is drink, it's going to be very hard to stop your habit. And I think when quarantine happened, we were all forced to be isolated in a way. So that sucked, but we got used to that. And then when we did start kind of coming out of it, I think it's very important to be intentional with who you hang out with and what you do. And my circle has, alhamdulillah, not changed, because my girls have been my girls since 9th grade, but the things I do now have changed. I literally don't go to certain people's houses because I know that's going to be a tempting environment, a toxic environment, something where I'm not going to get anything out of this positive. I started telling myself, like, what is your intention? If this is not going to benefit me in any way, then I should not be surrounding myself with it. They say those who have really good habits aren't because they have strong will. It's because they don't even put that shit in their environment. Facts. If you want to start eating healthy, don't even put chips in your house. You don't even have to be tempted to eat chips. If you don't want to drink, don't go to so-and-so's house who has Ragers every Friday. You're going to not drink. Get the alcohol out of your house. And I just use alcohol as an excuse, as an example. Anything, any substance, any kind of people, any food, any...
Well, just hateful talk. Like,
anything,
not being nice. Like, generally,
literally, once you take that out of your life, then everything around you is pure. And then that's the first step. Then you start aligning what you're thinking in your head. You start putting it out loud. You start saying it out loud with affirmations. You start writing it down. Journaling, oh my gosh, I'm on day 40.
You've been good about it. You gotta turn this into a book at some
point. I have
like
170 pages of a journal for only a month. But
like on the computer or physical?
On the computer. Okay. Because I type.
Environmentally friendly.
I know. No, because I think fast and I need to get it out. And if I write it, I feel like I will change my thought to make it look good for whoever might see it or myself.
I was going to say it's evidence. Like it's
exactly.
In the universe.
It's on the computer. It's there. So whatever I said, if it's a misspell, I got it out fast instead of, I'll sound better. If I wanted it to be so raw and so authentic. But once you start journaling, it's like once you get your thoughts out there and you see it on paper, but like, and it's so funny, like back in the day, things that used to like make me happy were just quick, easy satisfactions, whatever. And now it makes me happy. I was talking to my mom about it. I'm like, doesn't it feel good to check shit off your checklist? I'm like, it feels incredible. I'm like, I had a checklist of 5 things to do today and I did them all. And you know what I mean? And now I have like sticky notes in my room of like affirmations, So it's cool. It's different. And I'm not full of shit. It's hard to let a identity go, but I'm letting a certain identity pre-COVID.
You shed the skin like a snake.
You have to let it go. Everyone has to let whoever they were go before this and really try and do the hard. I told myself, I always tell people this. I'm like, I'd rather run a freaking marathon and do thousands of squats every day, physical pain, than mental work.
Completely agree.
Mental work is so hard to do.
Dude, it's so rewarding.
Oh, it's rewarding, but it's like rehab every day. And like when I'm done reading and journaling, I'm like, whew, like I need a nap. Like it will
literally tap you. Like your adrenals, 100%. Like chemically, there's a shift there.
Yeah, but once you start realizing what your purpose is, and once you start seeing that light, and once you start aligning everything together, you can't unsee it. You can't undo it. And I used to get mad at my past self, but now I'm like, I can't get mad at my past self because I didn't know any better. But
you're
now,
a young human.
But now I know better. So when you know better, you must do better. Do right by yourself. Do right by your family. Do right by your relationship. Do right by everyone. And if you do right by people, like, God will do right by you.
Circle back.
It will circle back.
Well, but I also think you got to provide space and grace for your moments of JV-ness.
Yeah,
and like, even if you're good on in your plan, there's going to be shit that happens where
like
you're
Jamaica,
like,
JV, baby.
Hey, but you can't like pre-call and know you're just going to be a wild asshole.
I'm JVing.
You can straight up have a good time and just be a wild animal. Like, I think that's important.
Balance,
yes, you don't need to like be this perfect human, brand out all the time. Like, I think it's okay to be it, and like to really, I mean, you saw it a couple years ago, wrong humans in my life. Even to this day, I've had to filter out some friendships and be like, I love you, but I love you from here, because it's just not serving, and that's really hard.
Good for you. No, and I'm proud of you, and I took after you with that too. And at first, your initial feeling is always aloneness. You always feel alone, but then once
you feel bad too.
You went bad, you feel alone, you feel kind of like an outsider, but once you get through that, it's almost like we're programmed when we have a negative thought, get it out of my head, just get it over with and keep moving. Now we're like, if I have a negative thought, I'm like,
you gotta feel it.
Why are we having this thought? Never act on your emotional thought, because I'll be out here calling people.
Put all the sharp objects away.
Right, but you let that thought and you sit with that aloneness, and you sit with it, not for a minute, not for an hour, not for a day, for days. Figure out exactly why you feel that way, and then you start realizing, oh, I don't feel alone. I'm alone because I'm choosing better for myself. And that's how you start changing your life. Every negative has a positive. And like, I took after you, when you were like, so-and-so is not serving me. And I'm like, wow, like, that's a long
Who says that? But it's so true. That's literally, I quite literally had to say that at one point.
And I was like, wow, you know, it's like, I'm like, damn, like, you're going to let go of somebody who you've known for over a decade or so. But I'm like, it's a necessary step. Like, you see those who are at the top, they don't give a shit, man. Like, peace out. If you are not serving me and I'm not serving you, then what are we doing?
Well, I think once you cut it off and you create that space, it's like you said, there's a vacancy there. There is a loneliness. However, you give it a little time and then you see good things come in.
Yeah, then you fill your space with 10 times better people or 10 times better things.
Or just time for yourself.
Yeah.
Or just, I mean, a clarity of mind. It's like cleaning out your closet and you're like, damn, I really loved, you know, that outfit from 94, neon pants, which I saved. But some other stuff that you saved, and you're like, then you go to a space in your closet, you put in some new clothes.
Yeah.
Or you can just move the racks easier and see what you actually have.
I think that's like the silver, like every interview that I've ever done with all these artists virtually, I've always asked each one of them, like, what has been your silver lining in quarantine and during COVID, during all this time? And every single one was like, which I was as well, it was like, put your head down and you grind. And we were never able to stop and smell the roses, whether they were burnt roses or whatever it was. But I feel like we all have to now, we stopped and we smelled the roses. And then we had even enough time to do that. Then we even had enough time to ask ourselves what we want. Then we had enough time to deny ourselves it. Then we had enough time to actually start working on it. And now we have enough time to actually see ourselves prosper from the things that we've done. That's how much time we've been given. And I feel so bad for those people who are sitting down waiting for time to pass them to get back to whatever life they thought they had.
Life is so short.
Exactly. That's how I was in the beginning of this. Man, March, I was like, get me out of here. I gotta go back, you know. But now it's like, okay, I've accepted this is what it is. And who are you going to become? Who do you want to be? And that's when I started putting in the hard work. But at first I was like, I hate being alone. This sucks. I want to see my friends. What's going on? But then once you get past that initial phase of the denial of what the hell is happening, then it's like, all right, Rosa, we've had a month to do nothing. What are we going to figure out? And it's just like anything in life. Like, if you feel sad, it's totally okay to feel sad. Do not push that feeling away of anger, sadness, defeat. Sit with it for a minute. Be sad for a week, but then get your ass up and do the shit that you said that you were going to do. Exactly.
Appreciate the actually feeling something and not just being numb.
But I used to be that person who was like, any bad feeling, get out of my head. Anything
weird
that's not
shit to
fun,
do. We're busy. It's on to the next thing. I'm curious though, and because you've interviewed, shout out to, I'm gonna stroke your ego for a hot second and then going back to reality. But like, you've interviewed some big dogs, like notable humans and millions of followers and blah blah blah. Is there any commonality in having these conversations with them? Like, I love this life, or I would never want this, or they have this commonality of XYZ. Like, is there anything you pull from these interviews where you're like,
that some people, number one is that some people just have God-given talent, can sing, can speak. Like, I've had somebody walk into the room and the entire energy changed based off just their presence, and I was like, that was
in a good way.
And I was like, that was their God-given gift, and I'm like. And how they express it is through music. It's just like I've met, you know, I could see that. Or I've met some people who I'm like, okay, you're not going to last long, but you have a good team around you, you know? So I've met all kinds of those, but like the ones who are pure and amazing and have changed so many people's lives, all just, which I'm trying so hard to do, but they are unapologetically themselves.
Yeah.
Regardless of what field. I've interviewed rappers with face tattoos. I've interviewed girls after breakups. I've interviewed, you know what I mean? People who have been on like all kinds of things. I've interviewed all kinds of people from all different walks of life, but those who've made it have gotten deep with themselves and overcome whatever it was that they were afraid of and are unapologetically themselves and just have a God-given talent of like, they can sing or they can dance or they can act, or whatever it is. So it's in the entertainment field, but at the end of the day, like they all have something built around who they actually are.
So it's
like,
authenticity.
Authenticity, yeah. And some people aren't authentic and you see them come and go, and that's fine too. And some people can just like really, really sing, but they don't have any social skills, and that's okay too. Because I accept them for being like, yo, I get really nervous. And I'm like, that's cool. That's who you are. You're a great singer. I'm going to work around you now.
That's how she's a box of worms.
Yeah, I had some, you know, which is totally fine. But like, then you have somebody who can only sing, is socially awkward and can be rude, you know? So you get all different kinds of people. But like, the show, the Rosa's Risky Rotation has changed my life because I've gotten to meet some like incredible human beings, like in their brain, in their mind, and like
they meet you there, but that's your skill set because you meet them there regardless of
and
like
that's what I
whatever
think,
that's your vibe.
Alhamdulillah, that's what I think mine is too. Is like my given talent is being able to speak and connect with people in all walks of life. And sometimes the camera gets turned off or the camera dies, and we've had conversations for hours in those rooms with some very talented individuals just about realness and how do you feel about this or what do you do there. So it's cool to just sit down and talk to people and get to see their different perspectives of life and living in a tour bus for 6 months and stuff like that. And then being like, I'm fed up, but it's super cool, and that's why I love the show. And in our age in media, like it's what anything, society loves bad things, violence, this, that, because it sells or whatever the hell it is. And sometimes in media, clickbait sells, and sometimes negative headlines are 10 times more clickable than positive. But I always told myself that my goal in life is to be able to sit with an artist who I thoroughly enjoy and give them that open space to speak freely. That I'm not going to come in here and be an interviewer and be like, who are you dating? What do you get that clickbait? I'm not in there for that. I'm in there because I genuinely love this song. How did you write it? You know what I mean? That's why I'm there, and I feel like they can feel that eventually, and especially women can be guarded because, you know, women in a lot of places get Holly Berry can have 3 new movies come out, and the top of the thing on the news will be who she's dating. You know, so I want their light to shine, their artistry to shine, and I'm genuinely there because I love their artistry. So I want everyone to leave my interview room and be like, breath of fresh air. Wow, that was fun. She was authentic. That was cool. I like her. You know, I didn't get to sit down and say, so what's this song about? What's this album about? What's this? Who are you from? Stuff like that. It was like, yo, I love this in 2008. Like, how are you feeling now? Things like that. That's my goal in life, is to have authentic connections with people and actually matter, like actually care.
Well, dude, that goal's already happening. We need the next goal. That's already in the mix. You already know.
But still, I like that. And then I'm like, all right, play me some new music because I love music. I'm upset. I'm like, let me see something. So,
but, I mean, they've got to appreciate that, especially if your job is to sit down and promote something all the time. They've got to appreciate a human that's like meeting them where they're at.
That's what I was telling you. Like, clicks are cool. Like, it's great, and of course that matters. But like, consistency matters. And sometimes, like, I'll be the first to say, like, sometimes my views are at 1 million, and sometimes they're at 100, and I'm like, okay, at the end of the day, Rosa, I go to bed every night and I'm like, that was quality stuff.
You play the long game.
I'm like, that was a quality interview. If someone sees it in 6 years, that was still quality. And that's a quality artist. You know what I mean? Like, my last one was A$AP Ferg. I'm like, that's a quality artist. That was a quality interview. If someone sees it 6 years from now, that's still me being me. And them being unauthentically themselves, unauthentic. Whatever bullshit.
Unapologetically authentic. I'm the one having white wine here. Okay.
Authentic. That makes me want to do the same too and break down barriers and talk about things. So it's super cool to connect with people. And of course you get assholes, but assholes are fun too because I feel like
you're experienced enough though where you can like manage.
I'm here to
like,
play.
Whatever, we'll do a blooper reel. Like,
exactly.
Whatever it is, like we'll make this work.
And the best thing is my best friends are behind the camera, Troy and Brandon, and they are just like laughing, and I'm sitting here sweating, and they're laughing because I'm critical. I'm like, I'm gonna look crazy, and they're like, she's gonna look crazy. It's gonna be amazing, you know. And I'm freaking out because I'm.
But that's
crazy.
real too.
But I
that's
love
okay.
that they're like, we want everything, the realness, the mess up. So they really push me out of my box to be like, good, you know, you messed up. Finally, you're something like that, and so that's super cool too. And I think it goes back to what you said, like surround yourself with people who really inspire you. And I always say, like, don't ever stop making cool things with your friends.
Yeah.
Like, that's how everything starts, with a camera.
Let it be fun.
Just this,
Forever.
like, even this. Set up some lights, have a conversation.
This is
and
real
you
life.
never know where anything can take you. If it takes you somewhere, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It is what it is. You're enjoying yourself in the moment, and you're doing what you love.
Yeah.
I think that goes a long way.
So, I mean, now you know, you're
How long are these,
You're
by the
0
way?
years old. Oh, till whenever. Till
love
it gets terrible, which is basically never. I'm out of white wine, which I never drink white wine. I've been on this kick where it's like, it's right, I have like a glass of wine and go to bed. I'm like, is this what you do as you get older? Like, am I gonna like knit a doily for the couch next?
I honestly feel so
Like,
good being completely
alcohol
sober
free.
now.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
I feel thanks.
I love it.
I feel like, I mean,
we were doing that for CrossFit. I remember I loved that, but then I also love just like
having
drink.
a good glass. It's balance. It's balance.
But
I wanted to.
old.
I wanted to push myself to the limit and be like, what can we do? But
oh, no, you're making it through the challenge 1,000%.
I think, dude, I'm trying to do like 100 days. Like I'm trying.
you're
to
going
take
beyond
it
the challenge.
Yeah, I think
Even
the
in
problem is
Jamaica.
Jamaica. Like
I was gonna say you
I-
already called out JV. Like, let's breathe for a second.
I said I'll find out when I get there what I'm gonna do. I don't know. I'm not trying to put pressure on myself, but I really could take this to the max.
I think in life, any older human I've ever spoken to, they're like, you will never regret what you did do. You'll regret what you didn't do.
I know.
So
that's
there's a good time.
I told my boss,
you need to have
like,
it.
I'm
Like,
going to
don't go to
Jamaica.
jail.
Like,
don't be dumb. But like,
yeah, my boss was like, you're gonna do this challenge in Jamaica. He's like, you're an idiot. Like, go enjoy.
Yes, boss.
I'd be going on like day 72 of the challenge. Out of 75.
I mean, again, you
live your life, right? Like, live your. I don't know.
like,
We'll see. It'll depend. I'm like, I can withhold. I'm like. But I'm like, you gotta go give me some authentic Jamaican food. I'm gonna deny it? No way. I want to eat that, or you know, some good.
No, I think
5-star
taking
food.
that.
Yeah.
Like, let's have some balance here.
Yeah.
Okay, so on that note, outside of like basic Jamaica goals, which I'm tired of that. What are real goals? Like, put into universe. What is like, what's
trying
up
to survive
with it?
COVID? No, just kidding.
No. I mean, like, for real. Is it like bigger interviews or like? I mean, what's more social media? I know you're not here for it.
Yeah, I love that. I'm like,
but I mean, maybe if it's not even superficial, it's just like continued journaling and inner peace.
One of my biggest goals is like what I was talking about before. I want to be able to provide all artists a platform. I do a lot of hip hop, R&B. I want to be able to provide pop artists. I want Swedish artists. I want EDM artists. I want to be able to be that safeguard for any single artist on the planet to be like, if I go have a conversation with Rosa, she's gonna completely understand me, or maybe she won't. But like, we're gonna have a conversation and it's gonna be real. And that's one of my goals, to like continue to work on the risky and like blow it up, not for fame, but blow it up so like more artists can know about it and like, hey, you want to come through, or like turn it into, you know, it's really fun right now, but I inshallah maybe one day like have a podcast. Like, I obsess with music. I love music. So
well, that was kind of, not to interrupt your flow, but like that was kind of my next question, is the why. Like, why artists? Like, why what's the music? Do you think it's like a universal language? Like,
I think it's a universal language and I love it, and it's such a part of who I am. It's like just me. I love listening to music all the time. Like, I stayed up last night 2 extra hours because a new song was dropping and I wanted to hear it. It was a new Kehlani song. Kehlani's my favorite artist, but I love that stuff. You know, I love to stay up, and then my boss is always like, dude, you need to just start a podcast that is music. Like, when new music drops, just like go talk about it, because he's like, I'm sick of hearing about it from you.
Even if you do casual for like 10 minutes.
He's like, I go into their office all the time. I'm like, so what's new? And they're like, get out. I'm like, come on, what's new? Is that, play me something? But I love music, and obviously to continue to take the radio career, like always, like I started as overnights, 12 to 2, then 12 to 5 a.m. and then, you know, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. on a weekend here and there, and then Thanksgiving, and then one Christmas here, like from the beginning. Then I got a night show, 7 to midnight. Then I got middays, 10 to 3. So just continue to progress the radio career and continue to be unapologetically myself, be authentic, and get to spread the message, whether that's informative based off the current situation we're in, whether that's funny, just to give people a good time, regardless of where you see me, how you see me. But that's kind of the goal. And honestly, to survive COVID and to figure out, I really have a goal for my personal self of like, now we're getting deep, but like, I want, whenever I say something, I want to mean it. Like I
that's intense. So that sounds easy. That's really, really hard.
Yeah,
if any person pulls back and really thinks about every time they speak, that's hard.
Like, if you don't like me because I said that, that's fine. But I used to live my life of like, I want to please everyone because I want everybody to like me. Obviously, I'm on the radio. Haha, I'm fun. I'm cool. You know, I want it, which is fine. I'm young. I was 17 at the time, but I want to be able to stand up and be like, hey, I believe in this. I don't believe in that. You know, and I think
it's work to disagree, though. That's the thing.
Exactly.
When people's like, we agree to disagree, like, sometimes that's necessary, but also it's like, we're ending the conversation. It's like, nope, that's why we are where we are.
Exactly.
That's a problem.
And be okay with somebody not liking me because of what I believe in. And that's fine. Instead of, I used to go have a conversation with people and come home, my friend be like, did you just lie about everything? I'm like, I think I did. I'm like, did I just agree with all that? Because I don't believe in any of it. And she's just like, dude, you're a people pleaser. And I'm like, but in my mind, I was like,
most people, though.
But then I was like, I don't really care, though. And she's like, that's fine. You don't care? But she's like, dude, you're good at just chameleonaring. I was like, oh, that's true. Right. And so now it's
Did
just
you say
like,
chameleonaring? We're changing it. Chameleoning. It's like chameleon, but we're going chameleonaire. I'm here for this.
Yeah, chameleonaire.
Yes. Chameleonaire. You just got a shout
what
out.
What is a chameleon?
Chameleon. Being a chameleon.
Yeah, chameleonaire.
But chameleonaire just totally tapped into
Being
your millennial mind.
is like, I'm out here jumping in this group. Now I'm this.
That's chameleoning. Chameleon.
Girl.
Chameleon.
Trying to catch me riding dirt.
Yeah. Hey. Oh,
but
this
just
is
that.
like my high school.
Of being like, when you meet me, that's who she is, you know? Like, she's not.
That's hard, though.
I know, but I'm working on it. I'm working on it. And, like, standing up to people who I'm like, yo, I don't believe in that, you know? And just, I think it's what I always say, like, I'm really trying to be those people who I look up to who are just, whether it doesn't even have to, I don't want to be them because they can sing. I want to be them because they're unapologetically themselves.
Yeah.
Who they're like, yo, fuck that. And I'm like, you're
that's
right.
A big deal.
Yeah, so that's kind of the goal. What is your goal?
I'm with you. Honestly,
honestly, don't even. And mind you, there's no time on anything anymore. With COVID, I'm trying to get time back.
Well, it's a thing. The more I learn about myself and universe, God, Madonna, I always say whatever you believe, however you package it. Like, the thing is, all things are on time. So I could have rushed so many more things. Yeah. But then, like, I need to learn a lot of lessons the hard way. And I'm someone that has to, like, run through the wall to learn it and, like, go to the extremes and do it.
Me too.
So, like, we know this. But I'm with you. Just to be completely, not just myself, but, like, genuinely stand for what I believe. Talk about it, put it out there, and let it be.
Pause. I also want a fat ass. I want a juicy booty.
And this is the two we're going to get. We're in, like, deep zone, and we go right back to the shower into the pool.
I want a juicy booty. I want a thick booty.
Dude, squats, I'm telling you.
I
get back
do
in
a
that
lot of
CrossFit
squats.
situation.
I do.
The post today, I'm just saying, thirsty ladies and gents,
I want to be just, like, goddess body wise.
The physical is a thing, but I like this. This is the perfect like culmination of the whole conversation. It's like get the inside right, but then you can still care about the outside.
Yeah,
it's
but
okay.
Like, I'm trying to be.
Well, you might do the 75-day challenge, working out. You got the diet right. You got the mind right. Like, I feel like it's culmination.
I just want to just like when I walk into a room, like, oh, that's a bad, like, ooh.
You got all the boxes checked.
Yeah,
I'm kind of with that. I got back. I've been more religious now, no pun intended, given our combo, but about CrossFit and the fitness.
Yeah.
And getting back into it.
Feel good. Like, after I work out, I'm like, ugh, love it.
Yes, it's more for the mind than the body.
Okay, so wait, back
but
to
also
you.
Your fat ass.
Yes,
soon to be, apparently. No, that's literally, I want this podcast. It's so in growth stage and passion project, but whatever platform I have, I want it to be intentional. I've run enough laps around certain tracks to put out some good info, but really bring in really intentional, important voices to the mic to share the journey, because in my heart I know this is my most the way I can be the most impactful in the world. Like, this conversation, if one young future radio star or Muslim girl or woman looking to be in a male-dominated arena can hear this conversation and hear you talk about it or me talk about it and be like, holy shit, I heard this random ass Touring Tequila podcast, and like, I'm actually gonna do this. That's my goal. Like, I don't even know if it's a goal. That's my clarity in my next move. Is
it's like going to bed peaceful that I did what I did today.
You're in alignment.
Because even just the manifestation in this room right now is just,
and if these walls could talk, you don't even know.
The second this interview's over, guess what I have to do? Pray.
Go pray. Oh yeah,
right here. I prayed literally right here.
At 8:00. Is that when you pray?
No, it started at like 7:37. So
and you have to win.
till like midnight till I go
Oh,
to bed.
okay.
So I have time.
We'd literally be going out. Again, this is why it's so perfect. We'd be going, I'd be getting ready. The whole crew would be at my house.
I'm like,
This is like, I gotta shut down.
I'm like, turn the music off.
Turn down the
Five
pictures. Wait. So really quick, can you, because I really want people to understand like the commitment that you are around your religion.
Yeah.
I know it's not all about religion, but Ramadan, unpack that really quick so people know what's up with how hard that is.
It's 30 days, which I'm sure most people know. It's 30 days where you can't eat or drink water while the sun's up. So around like 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. at night.
No food or water.
No.
And keep in mind, she would still be doing school, training, fitness,
Yeah.
crabby as hell, all the attitude.
I feel like I'm good though. No, you guys would be like, "Can I eat in front of you?" I'm like, "Yes, I don't care. Like, eat your food." I used to be.
I still feel like you were a little testy.
Sixth grade cafeteria. I'm gonna tell everybody to stop eating. Like, it's okay. Food doesn't. It's fine. Like, I'm getting snatched. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, you do that for 30 days. I love it. It's a great time of the year to reset. I feel like that's what started the snowball of all of this. Was this year's Ramadan of. It was Ramadan, it was quarantine. So we had my entire family, me, my 2 sisters, my brother, and my mom and dad. And it was the best time of my life. It was all 6 of us. We were all fasting. After the fast, we would walk, we would work out, we would all make incredible meals all day. Mind you, and that's what I'm like, blessing in disguise. Every single Ramadan for the last 5 years before that, my sister's in New York, the other one's at the Air Force Academy. You know, that's who you really need to talk to, the Air Force Academy
My
one.
girls. And they're also Destiny's Child tribute band. Just want to put that out there.
Yes, ma'am. But like but it was such a blessing of like we were all together as grown adults having. It was to this, my entire 25 years of living, it was the best time of my life. My birthday was a quarantine birthday, March 30th. My dad bought me a cake and they had like the King Super, like they had radio on it. My uncle sent down a guitar with like KS stuff for all the artists to sign for the Risky. So inshallah, when things open back up. But like, it was the best birthday of my entire life. It was the best time ever. But yeah, we were all getting through it. And then that kind of snowballed everything of like, this is so pure. This feeling is the best high I've ever gotten, and it's a pure high. It's a pure joy. You know, happiness has every positive has that counterintuitive negative. Pure joy doesn't. Yeah. You know, and that's the hard part, because that's the stuff you have to really work on to get that pure, sustainable joy. And I felt so happy, like it was just the best time ever. And you know, as hard as it was, we were all getting through it. So yeah, I do Ramadan obviously every single year, and so I think I like it. Because it's a good time to just reset, you know? And so, I mean, I do it every year. Sometimes it's really difficult because I do want to punch people in the throat at any given moment. But you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a massive nod. I think there's other versions in different religions, but anytime you have that discipline to cut off like an instinct, like eating or drinking water, what have you, it's a big deal. So
yeah, that's why I'm like, if someone's like, "Oh, can you do that?" I'm like, if I can't eat for a month, I can do anything.
You gotta understand, most people don't even get that. It's like, you just eat. You're about to pass out. We just worked out for 10 hours.
I know.
And you're
you
like,
guys tell me I cry all the time, and I'm like, I have 30 more minutes. Like my mouth is white, my tongue, there's no saliva anywhere, and I'm like, I'm good.
Dude, I have deep respect. And you're a young human. Like, you're a kiddo.
I know, I was like 17. Yeah, whatever.
Facts. All right, we will wrap up here. I appreciate your energy. I can't wait to see what you're doing next. Any closing advice for young humans out there? Real talk. Getting into, maybe not even the radio world, but just like graduating high school, getting to the next step when they're about to venture into their new selves.
First off, thanks for having me, dude. This is cool. Even though we're besties, I'm so proud of you. Like I said in the beginning.
Thank you.
Dude, it all starts with an idea. I'm telling you. It's a vibe in here. Like, just keep it up. I love you. This is amazing. It's beautiful. Like, you have nicer stuff than me, and I had like.
Don't look close. Don't look close.
I know. You're right. I know. You're right. I've been looking at a couple things. I was like blowing a bug over here at one point. No, I'm like, we love a current. But first off, congrats on this. It's beautiful.
Thank
I can't wait to
you.
come back. And
my girl.
Advice. Don't take it from me, but just. Honestly, it's gonna sound corny, but really just find what really makes you happy. Like, even if it's a wild thought in your brain right now, it's okay for it to be a wild thought. And if you're afraid to write it down, it took me years to write down my goals because I was scared of them. But honestly, if the goal's not big enough and you're not scared of it enough, then it's not the right goal. Have a goal that's scary, that's hard, that makes you question it. Then you're gonna have enough the courage one day to write it down. Then it's out there. Now you have to start working on it. Then you're gonna start taking steps here and there. And if something's hard, do little steps. But find what you love to do. Surround yourself with people, whether it's what it's the same line as you, or it's another line, but they're also working just as hard as what they love to do. Find those people and start working and start finding what makes you really happy, and stop listening to what society says makes you happy, because our society just went to shit, and it just shows that we cannot rely on anybody but ourselves to make us happy. So find what makes you happy, surround yourself with those who make you happy, and listen to Turmeric and Tequila.
Hey, the plugs, my girl.
Yeah, and thanks, sis.
That's what's up. 25. If you're out here 25 and speaking these gospel
You have me on
words,
here. You have me on here
that's
at
what's up.
26, and I'm like, bye.
Yeah, 26. You're like F25.
This is cool though. Your phone really just stayed recording the whole time.
Yeah, we're not done. We give it. Where do we find you? We got to do the cliche things too.
Social girl, I'm already
tags.
looking at myself. You lost me.
I know. I was gonna say
I'm
she's seeing this
here.
in my giant mirror. Anyways.
I'm here.
Wait, tags. Where do we find you?
Everything is just Rosa Jad. ROSAJAD.
Wasn't that
And
branding?
then the station I'm on is KS1 Senpai.
And your show on YouTube.
And my show is called Rosa's Risky Rotation. And Rosa Jad. Follow me. Say what's good. Hashtag Turmeric and Tequila. I just posted a super aggressive leg day with my turmeric tequila.
Should I delete booty it? Shot. No, I think it's hilarious.
Did you not like it?
No, I reposted it twice on Turmeric and Tequila.
No, but like, why were you like,
Because I think it's amazing. It's aggressive, but you just haven't put out the aggression yet. So I'm here for the aggression.
I know. I'm trying to switch it up.
Yeah, I'm a fan. This emoji. We're in.
Okay.
We're in.
Let me go look at the video. Bye, guys.
No, it's good.
End this. I need to go look at it. I'm getting paranoid. Let me look at this video again.
Thank you for coming. I appreciate you. Stay varsity.
Stay varsity.
Thank you for joining Turmeric and Tequila with your host, Kristen Olson. Tune in next time, and don't forget to subscribe on Apple, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.